I am extremely unsure whether I am an idiot here or not. Usually, I am rather secure in my actions, but given the current situation around the world and the reason or lack thereof, I wanted to see if I am an idiot here. I managed to buy my own apartment 4 years ago. After living there for about a year, I figured it would be a good idea to rake in some extra cash by renting out one of the 2 guest rooms. Since then I have had 2 roommates. The first guy was an amazing dude, and we're still friends now. A year ago my now roommate moved in. And it has been a very different experience. She is a very quiet person when she doesn't have friends over, so it has proven impossible to become friends due to this, and it is a bit awkward for that reason. I mean, it took several months for her to respond normally to me saying good morning instead of with an incoherent whisper. Regardless, I have not had many issues with her apart from that until about 3 months ago. Roommate got a boyfriend and was around all the time. At first I just figured he was sleeping over here and there is reasonable for any couple. My girlfriend sleeps over now and again too, but it quickly went to the level of where I would wake up to get my coffee, and this dude was there every morning, midday and evening. It doesn't help that this dude is even more awkward to be around. If you can remember the creepy silent kid in the corner of the class that follows you with his or her eyes all the time, but says nothing back in high school, that's pretty much him. I spoke to her about this, and she said she was sorry and would handle it, so I figured that would solve it. Well, I went to visit my parents for 2 weeks a little over 2 months ago. I couldn't get the holidays off, so I figured this was better than nothing. No worries, it was allowed here, and when I got home I came home to 3 people. Turns out that my roommate had been allowing her boyfriend's parents to sleep in the guest room. Now the guest room is not part of the agreement, it's entirely mine, and not a shared space. You can imagine I was pissed. Unfortunately, instead of apologizing, her boyfriend got angry and started cursing at me, after which I kicked him and his parents out, told him he was no longer welcome. The next day I served my roommate with a 30-day eviction notice, which was the first time she showed emotion, as she immediately started crying about how she wouldn't be able to find anything in time, how the reason her boyfriend was over here a lot was because he is homeless, etc. Crap went through and she moved out 3 weeks ago. I am wondering whether I am an idiot. It does feel similar to throwing out a shirt with a stain instead of washing it. In other words, I can't help but feel I didn't give her enough of a chance, given she barely caused any issues apart from very recently, and the reason for kicking her out was largely because of her boyfriend, not her. You didn't kick her out for having her boyfriend over all the time. She essentially moved her boyfriend in because he wouldn't have had a place to stay if it hadn't been for your house. That is not okay, and whilst it's unfortunate he is homeless, if she wanted him to live with her, she should have opened her mouth and discussed it with you. Letting his parents stay is another issue, and it meant stomping all over your boundaries as well as your legal rights. I say not the idiot. She could have done many things to prevent this whole situation, and the fact that she didn't isn't on you. Not the idiot, you did the right thing evicting your tenant. You had an agreement for her to live in one of the bedrooms. She booted the terms of the agreements once he let the boyfriend live out to her home. Taking another 2 people and letting them use another bedroom is beyond comprehension. She didn't care about your property. Those people would have acquired tent rights in due time, and you would have an impossible time getting them out of your home. She was not a good tenant at all. She put you at risk by allowing people into your home. So in other words, he was over all the time because I essentially let my boyfriend move into your apartment without permission. You kicked your ex-roommate out because of her own poor choices, as her boyfriend was only secretly living there because she chose to allow him to do so. Not the idiot. You agreed to live with 1 roommate, not 2 to 4 roommates. You have a right to be comfortable and feel safe in your home. This housing situation, as sad as it is, does not justify what she did, nor is it your problem to fix. I, 21, am in my last semester in college and will hopefully graduate this May. I'm a first-generation college student and genuinely care about getting good marks. This semester I'm in a class that involves a group project of 4 people analyzing and proposing policy, which is a large portion of our grade. The project proposal is due on Friday, and my group is seriously slacking. Normally I'm very understanding, because things come up, life is busy and tiring, people have to juggle internships and jobs and school and mental health, etc. But this is a huge project, and I'm tired of carrying the group. I made a group chat with my group members and assigned them roles because I figured it would be easier to set it apart and get it done. I was fine with taking the bulk of the project as long as I got some help on the other aspects. Two of my group mates really stepped up and went above and beyond on their portions, but the last member hasn't touched it. One group member pointed out that she's never in lecture, so I reached out just to make sure she was doing okay. She thanked me for the concern, but just explained that where she lives, class is all online, COVID restrictions have lifted, so she's been enjoying her time out at clubs, bars, restaurants, and will try to get to the project this week. I asked her to have her portion done by yesterday, so we can fine-tune it before it's turned in. She didn't touch it, so I asked her to get it done by today instead. Still nothing. I messaged her this morning about it, and she snapped at me telling her to get off her back and that she'll get it done by tomorrow instead. I'm not entirely trusting of her that she'll get it done, and even so, that leaves one day to review the proposal and get it fine-tuned and finish up a conclusion, which is cutting it close for such a large portion of the grade. Evidently, another group had a similar problem, so our professor asked us to speak up if we encounter anything similar so that she can give us individual grades instead of a group grade. I have all the screenshots from our discussions and the editing history on our documents to prove she hasn't done work and why, so would I be the idiot for sending an email to my professor and having her failed for this portion? Am I overreacting, and should I just wait it out for this girl to do the work? Not the idiot. She's not doing her part because she's enjoying her time at clubs and bars. If she was undergoing an actual problem and that was the reason she wasn't doing her part, then understandable. But her getting drunk and partying is putting more load on you and your teammates. Talk to your prof. This kind of thing happens all the time. That's the thing about group projects. You have to deal with people of all kinds. In this case, reporter to the prof. I've done this before. The prof would understand and maybe even help you out. Not the idiot. I would calmly discuss this with your professor so they are aware of the situation as soon as possible. Since they have dealt with this scenario before, they likely have a reasonable way of informing the students in a non-confrontational manner. The sooner you let them know, the sooner they can reach out to said group member, which will give them ample time to actually put something together to salvage their grade. Don't let the laziness of others ruin your scores. College is too expensive to fail or retake courses in. Look out for yourself first and foremost. Not the idiot. First of all, what kind of person in the right mind would spend their time at bars and clubs when the pandemic is still going on? Lockdown restrictions may be lifted, but in my opinion, you still gotta be careful. Secondly, your groupmate has obligations and was already asked to finish it by a certain time. If it were individual, I would tell them to submit it at the last minute for all I care, but this is a group work where multiple people's grades are at stake. This kind of behavior is just insensitive. Last summer, 2019, my girlfriend, 22, and I, 21, were supposed to go on vacation to Hawaii for about 2 weeks. We'd already bought plane tickets and booked the hotel in advance, etc. Then her mother died and she had to go home from Maine to North Carolina for the funeral. I don't know her family, so I figured it would be weird and pointless for me to go with her. Girlfriend said she still wanted to come back in time go on the trip, but I knew she'd be depressed and down the whole time, so it wouldn't be any fun anyways. So I told her to just forget about it and I'd cancel the trip. But instead, I asked my sister, 21, if she wanted to go since I already had the 2 tickets booked and the hotel booked and didn't actually want to waste the money. She said yes, so we went. I told her not to tell my girlfriend or anyone else and not to post any pictures on social media or anything. No one else knew we were even going, so that was fine. As far as my girlfriend knew, I canceled the trip, and by the time we got back from Hawaii she was still with her family in North Carolina. Since girlfriend thought the trip was cancelled, she stayed there even longer than she would have otherwise. She finally returned home about a week later and never figured out I'd left at all, and I figured what she doesn't know can't hurt her. Well, anyways, last week my sister finally slipped up and mentioned our trip to Hawaii last year, and my girlfriend figured it out pretty quick, was furious that I went on the trip without her while she was at a funeral. I told her I didn't even see how it mattered because I wasn't going with her to the funeral anyway, so there was literally no difference on her end between me sitting at home while she was at the funeral and me going to Hawaii. She said that wasn't the point, and the point was that I lied to her, so I didn't have to take her with me, which is technically true, but only because I knew it would have just ruined the trip anyways, since she would have been depressed the whole time. She also said it was weird that I took family on what was supposed to be a romantic trip. People seriously think siblings doing anything together is weird these days. Game of Thrones has broken everyone's brains, I swear. I told her it's literally been over a year and it's not that big a deal. Well, she's still really mad at me. Come on dude. This should be a no-brainer. First, you don't support your girlfriend when her mother died. It shouldn't matter if you don't know the family or not. You should be there to support your soulmate. Come on. She needs all the support she can get. Second, you freaking lied to her. Third, well, she's probably having the worst experience of her life. You're off having fun in Hawaii. You should be on your knees begging forgiveness and doing everything to make it up to her. You are the idiot, mostly because you were most concerned that even if she did make it back in time for the trip, it would be ruined because she would be depressed. You went so far as to tell both her and us this. Bad enough you were thinking that way, but worse than you said it to her even a year later. Also, double idiot because you said it'd be weird and pointless for you to go to the funeral because you didn't know anybody. Wrong, you knew her, but you didn't want to go to support her. She should be mad at you, but mostly because you're just a terrible boyfriend. You're the idiot, not remotely a close call. Hawaii is, for many people, a once-in-a-lifetime trip. It's a honeymoon destination. I mean, you've been there, it's like paradise on earth, or as close to it as I'm likely to ever get. You told your girlfriend you cancelled the trip and then went anyway. You swore your sister to secrecy, too. You took several, significant steps to prevent someone you love from knowing you did something they wanted to do with you behind their back. I mean, that's absolutely crappy. I'd break up with you if I were her. Not a typical one. I have 2 biological brothers and I have 3 half-adoptive siblings and 1 stepsister. My dad married my adoptive mom when I was a year old and my brothers were a little older. My dad also adopted 3 of my step-siblings, the 3 half-adoptive siblings. I only use specifics so it makes sense. Anyway, when I was 9 my dad and mom died in a car accident, leaving all of us without parents. My stepsister took her biological siblings in, and our grandparents helped her, but they left me and my brothers to go into foster care and did not keep in touch with us. They also did not let us keep in touch with our siblings. When I turned 18 I, along with my brothers, reached out to our other siblings, only to be told it would be too weird and awkward to reconnect after everything. It hurt, I'm not going to lie. I spent so many years excited to see them again, and they rejected us. Last year my brothers reconnected with them but I didn't. They didn't show that much enthusiasm then either, but when I announced my engagement they got more interested and have tried since. But they have also asked me straight up about inviting them. My reply was it would be too weird and awkward to have them there after everything. They did not like my reply. They said I am being really unfair to them and we're still family. Yeah, but I want to know they give a crap and not that they want a fun day out because they only seem to be invested now after the wedding announcement. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I am hugging you super tight. I am so very sorry you and your brothers had to go through that. Congrats on your wedding. I will hope that it is just the beginning of a lifetime of love and happiness for you. You have every right to refuse to have them at your wedding and nope, not petty at all in using their words. You were a child when you lost everyone, and even as a young adult you tried in reaching out to them, and they shut you down. I've always told my kids your past is the doorway to your future, you can hang on the frame, or you can step through and stop looking back. Not the idiot. If you want to know if they really care, you could ask them if they were open to meeting with you outside or after the wedding. Then you could check if they are actually interested in reconnecting or only the wedding itself. If they ask for a reason, you could just say you wouldn't be sure how you would handle such a situation emotionally or something. But definitely not the idiot. I also wouldn't want this reconnecting situation at my wedding, even if there wasn't a complicated backstory. Not the idiot. Don't try to find out if they really care about you, because they don't. You have ample proof of that, and they've given zero indication that they've changed. OP nailed it when she said they just want a fun, free night out. Also completely correct saying it would be weird and awkward having them at your wedding. It would certainly be weird and awkward when you have to introduce them as the half-sibling who ghosted you when you were only 9. Leave them out and don't waste your emotions on them. I travel a lot for work. Usually, I would go by plane, but during all of this, I have been driving places instead of flying. Well, I got sent to the town I spend my early childhood in. I haven't been there in several years due to how busy I am, but I figured it would be a great opportunity to visit my dad, given I am there for almost 3 weeks, and my work will only be a few days spread across those weeks. Now my dad remarried, but I only met his wife twice, because my mom moved me and my sister halfway across the country when they divorced, and well, she was difficult when it came to visitation and custody. As for their kids, I only met the oldest one once, when he was a small child, but I haven't met the other two. Just for some perspective, I am 26, my dad is 51, his wife is 39 and their kids are 13, 9, and 8. Now I hate to be this blunt about it, but while I wish my dad's wife and their kids all the happiness in the world, I have zero interest in them. The only person I am there to see is my dad. Of course, I am not opposed to meeting them, seeing them, talking to them, being nice, etc. But as I said, I miss and love my dad. I honestly don't care about the rest, so I was hoping to spend a bit of alone time with him. Now day 1, I came by their house, had dinner, spent time with them all. Day 2, same deal. Day 3 I had to work. Day 4 I was meeting my dad at a restaurant and he showed up with everyone in tow. Day 5 we were going fishing and he took all his kids. Day 6 I had to work and now it's day 7. So I decided to talk to him in private and told him that I want to spend some time with him, just him and not his entire family. It didn't go over well. He said that it is weird I don't want to spend time with my stepmom and brother and sisters. Well, I told him that I met his wife twice in my life and I met one of his kids once years ago, so I honestly do not consider them as such, and I am hoping to spend some quality time with him while I am in town. He seemed offended and left soon after. I since got a call from his wife who was angry about me not considering their kid siblings. Don't know where to go from here. Was I being an idiot? Because I feel like it is a pretty normal request considering I haven't seen him in years. Not the idiot, that's the problem with dads remarrying. They expect you to put their new wives and kids on equal footing, or worse yet ahead of you in the pecking order. You told him straight, yet he manipulated the situation and allowed a virtual stranger, your step something, to berate you when really she has only a somewhat contrived connection to you. Stand up for yourself, because obviously he has no intention of doing so and doesn't seem interested in spending special time with you. Not the idiot. Getting the impression that you'd have liked your dad's time more your whole life. If he doesn't make time for you, he's not signaling that you matter to him. I get that money can be a barrier, but honestly, a good parent wants to see their kids and will stretch to make it happen. He isn't doing anything to make time for you, just his family. Also, running to his wife and telling her you said mean things, only to have her call and yell at you, sounds like he doesn't know how to deal with his own crap without her help. Why is she a part of the conversation? Not the idiot, and to me, it's weird that his wife wants to be around for everything. Perhaps I'm projecting, since I've been in a similar situation, but I wonder if his wife is at all threatened by your relationship with him. My stepmother inserts herself into every activity and outing that I plan with my dad. And she gets upset when he's off with me for any longer than an hour. She plays it off as happy family time, and since he's afraid of her mood swings, he gets upset when I call him out on it.